Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica the Story Witch, and today I'm going to do another tag from Brian Cormac Carr, or BCC as he's becoming known now in the YouTube tarot community. Brian joined YouTube about the same time as me, which was kind of late November, early December I think last year. And he's been coming up with some really good content, so if you haven't seen his channel yet, do go over and check it out. And this tag, which is about your kind of morning and evening daily practices, either as a tarot reader or as a pagan, it really resonated with me, and I've already enjoyed seeing quite a few of the responses in Brian's own video. Of course, I'll link all of that stuff down below as well so you can do the tag, and if you do, let me know so that I can come and check out your video too. So AM PM spiritual practices, or AM PM pagan practices. Now I don't think I've watched a video yet where somebody said, yes, I totally call myself a pagan. I think everyone's kind of said that they don't necessarily identify totally with the label pagan, which kind of makes sense really, because it was a label that would have been applied to people rather than people claiming it for themselves. But anyway, that's kind of not here or there for this. I want to talk about my daily, I almost said routine then, which which makes me laugh, because I home educate my two children who are 4 and 8, and so a routine is not exactly, although I suppose some people who home educate have a routine, but the kind of home education that we're doing is called unschooling, which is it is just living your life and going with what you really enjoy. And so I model that for them, I model that for me, because I love to do that. And so things like bedtimes and set meal times and set get up times, the kind of things you need to make a routine, don't really work for us. So like in my ideal world, I'd wake up in the morning, you know, I do a little bit of focusing and setting my intention for the day in bed. I'd get out of bed, I'd do some yoga, I'd go down, I'd make myself I'd select kind of which tea leaves I was going to use, which different herbs I was going to use in my tea. I'd make my tea, I'd take my tea out into the garden, have a little walk around. Then I would come in, I would do some meditation, and I'd journal, and yeah, you know, I do all those kind of things to set up my day. And I do kind of do those things, but what it looks like in reality is being called mom when one of those have woken up and me trying to do I'm doing sun salutations with a child going, Mum, can you put Dan TDM on for me please? So I like to think of it more as rhythms than routines, and I love what Jennifer Ball said when her video response to this, because I very much feel like my spirituality is my life, you know, it's not even woven with my life, it is part of the fabric of my life. So it's really hard to kind of say this isn't spirit, you know, this isn't part of my practice, this is part of my practice, because everything can be part of your practice if you are doing it in a mindful way and if you are noticing. And that's the key, I think, really, is noticing. So really simple things, you know, even like when you're just brushing your teeth, just noticing how that feels. Or every morning when I put my rings on, I have a little thing that I say each time as I'm remembering why each of these rings are significant for me. If I'm wearing significant jewellery, which I nearly always am, then, you know, that's a mindful choice as well, what I'm putting on. When I'm doing yoga, when I'm doing meditation, all of those things are just part of life and part of my day. But if I was going to give you the impression that it was all kind of really zen, and I'm reading a book at the moment by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is called Becoming Supernatural. It's been out a little while now, and it's Hay House, and so, you know, it's been very well publicised and everything. And in that book he talks about, in one of the early chapters, he says he always allows at least 2 hours for doing his meditation, and that just made me the idea of allowing myself, well, not even allowing myself, I'd love to allow myself 2 hours to have meditation, but an uninterrupted 2 hours is just, well, you know, it'll probably happen in about 10 years when my kids are a lot older. And then I'll allow myself 2 hours for meditation, and I'll be able to go to the void and manifest all of the things that I want. But you know what I've actually found is that, contrary to that kind of pram in the hall, once you've got children, you're fucked, and you're not going to be able to do anything creative anymore, you're not going to be able to do anything spiritual anymore, your whole life is kind of consumed by their needs rather than your needs. Well, I call bullshit on that, and what I've actually found is that becoming interruptible and being able to kind of still find my zen in those little bits of time of the day when I find my mindful moments with them. I'm not trying to hide away from them to find mindful moments. I do try and hide away sometimes, but no space is safe. Even in my Story Magic attic, they'll still come up the stairs and find me. So what I've cultivated, and is that noticing, you know, it's like all the little things that you do, not just on your own, not just out in nature, but with the people in my life that are important to me. I can find those special spiritual connection moments with them and around them, rather than always trying to kind of say, I'm going to block myself out an hour for this meditation now, or 2 hours for this meditation now. So yeah, I read a cool thing actually. I think it was on Austin Kleon's site. You've probably come across him if you're into kind of creative stuff as well. He's really cool, and I'll put his links down below. He told a story about, it was talking about that whole pram in the hall, and how once you have children, you won't be able to do anything creative until they've grown up, so you may as well just forget about it, you know. Whereas he told this story about a guy who was, it's allegory, so we'll get to the point in a moment, but this guy he was driving like a huge truck, and there was quite a few of them. They'd all gone out to get like wood out in I think it's somewhere like in America, like in the mountains in America, and they'd driven up this quite steep mountain. They were logging, and they were putting the logs and things in the truck. And there were other trucks there of people who were just like going out picnicking, or just kind of going for walks in the woods and stuff like that. And while he was up there, it began to snow really heavily, quite suddenly, and the snow just came down, woof, you know. And then, so people were kind of returning to their vehicles and trying to get out of there as quickly as they could. And the lighter trucks, those trucks which didn't have any logs or anything in them, they did not have the traction to be able to get out of the snow. Whereas this guy whose truck was full of logs, he had that traction to be able to move, and he could actually get out of the snow, and he was able to help some of the other people by towing them out as well. And Austin talked about that in the context of, if we can find a way for the extra things in our lives, our relationships with our family, our children, parents if they live with you, things like that, and see that as a blessing rather than it being an inconvenience, then it actually does give us that extra traction. There's a lot more to be gained from it. It's kind of, I think, again, coming back to how in our current world setup with patriarchy is our current world setup. So as a white man who traditionally would just be going out to work and everything, he wouldn't have any of those issues. You know, he could just concentrate on work, and when he gets home he can relax. But that is not how it has ever been for women who are rearing children, or often even for women who aren't rearing children, because even in households where there are just, you know, just a man and a woman, they have still shown that it's been an unequal kind of division of labour of housework and things like that as well. So I'm kind of getting off the point a little bit, but I will get back onto it, I promise. I'm quite chatty today, I'm like, And yeah, so even then, that kind of male ideal has been idolised. You know, that's the kind of way we see creativity being. You know, you can go lock yourself in your study all day and do your work, and then you come out and you can just pat your children on the head as they go off to bed, sort of thing. Well, no. Okay, it's time to redefine our idea of how to be a creative, how to be a spiritually connected person, and realise that you don't have to. Brilliant if you want to do that and you want to kind of go and isolate yourself and do a kind of, you know, like a retreat and things like that. I'm not saying anything against that at all, but what I am saying is that it doesn't have to be that way. And even in the midst of motherhood, you know, when everything's kind of a bit crazy and, you know, really small children, there is still plenty of opportunities and plenty of moments for connection and finding our kind of spiritual centre during the day in the most mundane of things. About 5 or 6 years ago, I had a blog called Everyday Magic, and I started a hashtag on Instagram as well of Everyday Magic, and I loved that concept because it was everyday magic, as in we do magic every day, and part of what we're doing when we're creating, when we're consciously creating our lives and not just kind of sleepwalking through our lives, we are making magic. But also because of the everyday magic, you know, the mundane, those just little seemingly insignificant things which actually are really significant. And I seem to be saying this all the time lately in videos, but it really resonates so much for me, that idea of lots and lots of small steps and small connections are actually just as valuable, if not more valuable, than a kind of full-on practice which lasts for a set amount of time each day, and then the rest of the day there is no connection. You know, if you're doing that full-on practice and you're also going around your day connected, then more power to you, that is amazing. But I have found in my own situation that I have to find those little nooks and crannies. And there's been certain writers who've been really supportive of me in that, which I feel like I should mention now as well. Now I've kind of gone off on this little ramble about this. And one of those is Lucy Pierce. You might have come across her work. She's got a publishing, I was going to say house then, but that seems really dramatic to call it that. She is a publisher. And her publisher label is Womancraft. And they publish a lot of books about creating when you're a mother, and about the status of mothers in society and women in society in general, and the kind of being a spiritual, awaken, conscious person in this society. So I'll put her links as well, and you can check out her books, like her Moods of Motherhood, and the Rainbow Way, and the subtitle is Cultivating Creativity in the Midst of Motherhood. I think I've said that right. And that book is just, if you've got a new baby and you are losing your mind, then that book is just, it's a massive game changer. And the other person whose work I love on this as well is Molly Reamer. And she is actually doing an everyday magic free classroom, you know, a course. It's not really a course because it's like a circle, you know, is people's experiences all feed in. And I'll put the links for that as well. She does it on Facebook and also on like a free classroom package platform which you can log into. You can opt to support her work by she's on Patreon and stuff like that, but you don't have to. Everything is there available completely for free as well, so definitely check out her work as well, and I'll link her and Lucy down below. So that's a lot of ramble, and I don't know if you've really kind of got an insight into what my daily practices are, but there was one particular practice which ties in with the AM/PM pagan practice and the AM/PM tarot practice, because it has both of those kind of elements to it that I did want to share with you, and that is my bullet journaling, or Book of Shadows bullet, you know, it's kind of when bullet journal meets Book of Shadows kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is turn the camera around and actually show you what I do, because I check in with my bullet journal every evening and every morning, and that really helps me find a focus for the day. So yeah, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what I do, and hopefully that'll be a more of a concrete thing, not just like the abstract things that I've talked about so far. Okay, so I've turned the camera around, and this is my bullet journal. It's a Lifestone 1917, see it there, I think it was like called turquoise, this colour. It's a hardback one, I prefer the hardbacks, and this year is the first year that I've gone for dots rather than lines. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is because each day I do a daily spread. I've shared some stuff about my bullet journal in a different video, a plan with me that I did on my channel, but I didn't show my daily spreads. And this month my theme is daffodils, which in the plan with me I explained that that's because they connect with my grandmother who died 3 years ago at the moment, and also with my Welsh heritage, so it's a very important flower for me at this time of the year. And I'm using Ostara Tarot as my deck for this month, because it obviously feeds in so beautifully with the springtime energy. I bought this deck last year and had saved it ready to use at this time, and I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm feeling like when it gets to April I'm going to want to carry on using this for another month, which I very rarely do, but I do sometimes do that. So yeah, basically my AM/PM practice. In the AM, actually, do you know, I think it's probably better to explain this from a perspective of what I do in the PM. So this is what I've done in the evening of the night before. Okay, so it is Thursday the 8th of March today, but there's still quite a bit of unfilled in stuff on this day at the moment because it is still just the afternoon, and I'll fill in the kind of PM stuff when I come around to doing that. So every evening I do like a new page for the following day, and I fill in I've got little moon phase stamps, and I do a stamp for the phase of the moon, and then I mark in which day of the moon cycle we are on, and the sign, and we're in Sagittarius at the moment, and the element. And then I make just a few notes about what that kind of means and what the significance of that is, the things that you should and kind of shouldn't do on that particular moon phase and sign. And I was laughing when I looked at this because I am one of those crazy people who does book my appointments according to where the moon is. So I did have my hair cut and coloured today because today was a very good day for having your hair cut and coloured. So yeah, I am that person. And then I do a daily draw, and every day my deck for the month I choose I draw a card line from the deck, and then I just make a few notes about what that card is and how I can kind of sort of imagine that it's going to manifest. And this was my card for today. It was the Three of Cups, which is a gorgeous card in many decks. And this deck, it almost looks not as kind of celebratory, but it is still that kind of, it's not like a party with other women. It's more of a really deep sharing, bathing with other people and connecting with them. So, and funny because of this is basically the colour that I have dyed my hair today. My hair is already ginger, but I have gone even more kind of vivid and bright today. And then I do like my to-do list for today, which is why I call this not a book of shadows. It is a bullet journal, because I do put in my kind of mundane things I need to buy and do as well. And then sometimes this will be much longer and I'll make notes. Sometimes I'll put down like what I'm planning to eat for the following day, things like that as well. And then I have a notes section over the other side of the daffodil, and I just like free draw these on each day, so they're all like a little bit different and a bit random. And then I'll make notes relating to how sometimes I'll just make general notes of things that I've done during the day, kind of like journaling. And sometimes if that's going to take more space than that, I'll go on to another page as well and just carry on. But I do very much like Simon, I was going to say Two Spirit then, but no, Hermit's Cave. He talked about how he looks back at his daily draw card. And I think Brian might have mentioned this too, actually, in his video, looking back on that card and seeing how that card did connect with the day. Because often in the morning, or in my case the night before, because I draw it the night before, you don't know how that day is going to pan out. I had a really funny one a couple of days ago where I drew the 6 of coins. Yeah, so it was here on Tuesday, and it is in this deck. The 6 of coins is gorgeous. It's like a raccoon with lots of her little babies all tucked up into the nest. And actually, I hadn't been planning that, but we had plans to go out that day. But actually, we didn't end up really going anywhere too far. And we spent a lot of the day just kind of cutched up in bed. Cutched. That's a very Welsh word. If you're not from Wales or around, you might not have heard that before. But it basically means kind of like cuddled up in a very cozy way. So yeah, we spent the day cutched up. And so when I looked back on that, I was like making notes, being like, yes, that is exactly the energy of that day. And so often I find that when I'm looking back at the card. So I'll be reflecting on this card today. And I've already thought, just looking at it now actually, is that today on Thursdays, my children go to my mum and dad for the day, or for the afternoon really. And I get on with doing the things I need to do, and sometimes that's like filming YouTube videos, and often it's my writing and things like that, the things that I don't find quite so easy to do when they're around. So today I went also and had my hair cut, like I said, and I also watched a couple of YouTube videos while I was painting my nails, and not making a very good job of it. I'm so bad at it. I'm much better when somebody else does it for me, but I kind of like them, and the bits on your skin do wear off, so it looks okay then. But yeah, while I was painting my nails, I was watching YouTube, and I saw Lisa actually first at Tarot Alchemist doing a VR to Dead Cheeky a a tag for today's, because it's International Women's Day today on the 8th of March, doing an Ascend Together tag, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So I actually did my first live YouTube video today, and I had some lovely people pop in and watch my live video and make comments and stuff, which was so lush. And this is all about kind of communion and connection with others, and how together you can make a kind of collaborative, collective change. And so this card for this day, as all the cards are for all the days, is very, very pertinent. So what I tend to do then is just kind of tuck it in there, and I'll carry the card around with me for the day. And then at the end of the day, like I said, I'll make my notes. And I also, at the end of the day, I go back to my my calendar for the following day, and I'll copy the things in that I need to do on that day. I check in with my goals and the things I need to buy. I also do my healthy habit tracker, which kind of tracks some kind of more mundane and more magical things and things that I want to, improvements I want to make in my life. And I see that as being very much connected, because like I've talked about already when I was doing the intro, I don't see that as being a separate thing at all. And I've got a gratitude tracker on this side here, so every day I fill in something that I am grateful for, or I keep writing usually until I fill the available space. And in March, one of my goals, my main goals, is to get outside every single day, so I fill in when I've done that. And actually today it's been quite miserable weather here, and I've barely got outside today, so I think I'm going to be struggling to write something unless I go for a little dusk walk later if it stops raining. And then yeah, part of my bullet journaling is about kind of ritual and planning and things like that, so I'd like to include information about the current season and stuff like that. I also include moon information. This was like a different daily layout that I was trying out, but I didn't like it so much as the daffodils, which I started doing. And then I'll just kind of have random pages of things as well. Yeah. I've been looking much more into my personal astrology, so not just the moon sign, but which house of my own personal chart that's fallen into as well. So I've been making some notes and things on that as well. And then yeah, you've seen this bit. So that's what I do basically. At the end of the day, we'll fill that in, and then I will set up the day, the following day. So Friday will be on here ready. So I hope that is kind of vaguely inspiring for you. I've loved so much seeing the things that people are sharing for this. It's so wonderful kind of to hear confirmation as well, when other people are doing very similar things to me. I'm like, yes, great, and then some really different things as well. I've loved seeing I love seeing Simon doing his Buddhist chanting. That was just amazing. And yeah, some lovely ideas. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of these responses. I'll try and get mine uploaded as quickly as possible. It's so frustrating at the moment because my internet is just so hit or miss. I'm hoping that this will actually be able to get uploaded fairly soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and warmest blessings, and I'll see you very soon.